Welcome to I guess you could call it another edition of How I Would Book It WCW 1998. This is a unique edition of Monday Nitro, partly because for some reason it slipped my mind to tape the show after I recorded it, after I finished it, which I have done not just for this entire season or installment of How I Would Book It, but I did it for the previous one as well. So I don't know how, for the first time in a little over 40 videos, that I actually forgot. But fact of the matter is, I'm going to use this as the opportunity to display this installment of How I Would Book It in a different perspective. Because we will spend some of this looking at Nitro, but also some of this looking at our competition in the wrestling world in 1998. So, I will just touch upon the main points from this episode of Nitro, which, by the way, as compared to the previous week, we did a heck of a lot better, but we're still not where we're supposed to be, and if we keep on pace with what we're doing, we won't be on TV by the time September rolls around. So hopefully we can turn things around. But, putting that bad news aside, we move to the first major happening on the show, and that is the Harlem Heat versus Steiner Brothers match that was made last week, where if the Harlem Heat win, they get a tag team title shot at Uncensored in March. Fact of the matter is, Harlem Heat are victorious, but not without controversy, as Ted DiBiase, as miscommunication between Ted DiBiase and Rick Steiner caused the Steiner Brothers the win. Cost the Steiner Brothers the win. I'm just checking something. Okay. The fact of the matter is, the next major point actually is the next match, and that is Ric Flair competing for the first time in quite a long time. And then following the match, Flair calls out the Mystery Man once again, which leads to an entrance from Greg the Hammer Valentine. And we just see a stare down because Flair thinks Greg Valentine is the guy who's been attacking him and who attacked AA and who attacked Roddy Piper over the last few months. So Flair is fuming, but he doesn't know what to think, seeing Greg Valentine ascend from backstage. So Flair is both puzzled and pissed off. And then the next match actually sees Randy Savage compete. And Randy Savage, following his match, calls out Hollywood Hulk Hogan to get Eric Bischoff answering the call, as Randy tells Eric that he wants a rematch against Hogan. But Eric tells Randy that the week before the pay-per-view, he said one match against Hogan, and his ill will towards Hogan, or his problems with Hogan, will be put aside for the good of the NWO. But now he's questioning Randy's loyalty to the NWO, and Randy says something like this, something to the effect of, "Eric, I am not a member of that faction anymore because you and Hulk sent those guys out to attack me. So I'm gonna get revenge on anybody who had anything to do with it, and I'm gonna cut the head off the leader of the NWO, and this faction will be over if the Macho Man has anything to do with it. Then we move to the next match, and much like the last two, it has bigger ramifications as Kurt Hennig faces the brother-in-law of Bret Hart, the man who he's had problems with the last couple of weeks, and Kurt Hennig gets the victory. But Bret Hart saves Bret Hart saves Davey Boy Smith from a post-match attack by Kurt Hennig. It does not help the feud, and ends up hurting the feud because of certain other people that were involved in the angle, namely Ravishing Rick Rude, who apparently isn't as over as he once was. Now we move to the next major point of the show, which is Mean Gene Okerlund interviewing Raven on Diamond Dallas Page, as DDP cost Raven his match against Lex Luger on that night, and Raven says something to the effect of, "Page, you're the golden boy for these people. You are the golden boy for these people, and you are the blue collar athlete for this company. Seeing you do that, seeing you cost me my match, sees that I am rubbing off on you, and you are thinking that the only way you get a match with me, the only way you get me one-on-one, to get your revenge on me, is by becoming me." Well, Paige, I hate to break it to you, you gotta stoop a little bit lower if you want to be like me. You gotta be ostracized by your friends. You gotta be hated by people who know you, who don't know you, and feared by people who do. You gotta be willing to savor in the loneliness. And be happy. Because that's been me for years. You are way behind. Have fun catching up. Quote the Raven, nevermore. That, my friends, was the Monday Nitro from the first week of March. Now, quick, let's take a glimpse over to our competition, the Monday Night Raw. Who ran the show a little bit further up the East Coast in New York, as I ran mine, I believe, in Philadelphia. And their show, mind you, there is no method to the computer's madness usually, so most of these matches may seem random, but that's because they are. I will only look at the main event, and the main event of the match, of the evening, was Triple H and Owen Hart against The Rock and The Undertaker. See? And the match ended in a no contest. And the semi-main was Vader versus Kane. See, with how bad my shows have been getting, I'm no competition to WWE. A little glimpse in some of the other companies: All Japan Women's Pro Wrestling, All Pro Wrestling, which is out in California, small company; AAA, the Mexican company; Big Japan Pro Wrestling, which was the old deathmatch company before it went out of business; Scott D'Amore's Border City Wrestling; Catch Wrestling, I don't know if Catch Wrestling is still in business; CMLL, East Coast Wrestling Association; Extreme Canadian Championship Wrestling, which I believe is still actually a member of the NWA; And now to my other competition, Extreme Championship Wrestling. A little more, I guess you could say, sense is made with ECW, as the 3 matches: Dave Von Dudley versus the Roadkill, meh. Sabu versus Justin Incredible, you know, that's somewhat sense. And then a fatal 4-way as Tommy Dreamer defends, which Tommy won the title back at CyberSlam in February from Franchise. Tommy Dreamer defends his newly won ECW World Heavyweight title against the Sandman, Lance Storm, and the Franchise in a fatal 4-way, or a 4-way dance, known by ECW standards. And the Sandman actually walks away with the championship, becoming the new ECW World Champion. And now I was going to look at the storylines, but ECW does not have any. And back to the WWE. Yeah? Okay. Dinner call, that's all it was. Let's see if I can catch it. As you can see by the glimpse, I don't want to zoom out too far. WWE has Hawk versus Mankind, Ahmed Johnson versus The Rock, Kane versus Steve Austin, Owen Hart and Vader versus The Undertaker and Jeff Jarrett. Look, you might say, oh, some of these feuds might make sense. I highly doubt they do, because it's a computer and they normally don't. In future patches of the game, like the most recent patch of the game, I've heard that the random feuds don't really exist anymore, and the feuds make sense. But the patch that I have is from last July, because I haven't had the need or the desire to upgrade or update it. So yeah. This is about it. I hope you enjoyed this unique perspective on this installment of the How I Would Book It. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and post a comment in the comment section. Post a comment in the comment section below what you thought of the video. Feel free. But for more content like this, excuse me. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more content, more unique content just like this, you can only find it in one place, and that is Wrestling Express. Thank you. Till next time.